Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace and blessings to everybody who's watching, who's listening. Welcome to the first episode of the DEENTOUR podcast. I'm Hussein Hafiz. I'm joined here by...
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. You know, my name is Osman, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Usman Hafiz, but not a real Hafiz. That's just my last name, but
Yeah, it's just our last name. A lot of people get that mistake. But, you know, this is a venture that we've been working on for a really long time. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of obstacles we had to go through, you know, trials from Allah. But alhamdulillah, we got it started. All praise is due to Allah. This podcast is, like, you may be asking yourself, what does DEENTOUR mean? So it's derived from the word detour because I like to think of, you know, life having a whole bunch of different pathways, right? You know, there's so many directions you can go, so many decisions to make. And, you know, only Allah knows, like, what is best for you. And only Allah does what is best for you. And so we think of, like, deen, you know, deen is the way of life in Islam. That's what we call it. So it's like, it's your way of life, and it's like all the different pathways you can take. And, you know, you either do the right thing or you do the wrong thing. You know, it's like as simple as that. And today with my brothers, you know, we're going to be talking about something pretty simple. You know, we want to show y'all that we're just like you guys. You know, we're the same as everybody out there. You know, like we take Islam as our guide in everything that we do. And whatever we talk about on this podcast, you know, we're going to be using the perspective of Islam, you know, the Muslim view, because that is the only view that is the right view in our eyes. And, you know, like what it was like growing up black and Muslim in America.
In the West.
yeah, in the West.
We said America. What the hell are you talking about?
The West. All right.
But nah, bro, like
the
it's
West
like,
is a
bro,
more fitting
growing
term.
up black and Muslim in America, bro, it's like pick a struggle, dude. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. For us, I don't think it was that bad. Like
yeah, I didn't get the worst side
Yeah,
of it.
for
I didn't get the
real.
worst side of it.
The thing is,
Alhamdulillah.
look, the thing is, in my head, I can't really recognize anything where I was like, oh, see, like that's because I was black.
I
or it's
never
because
blamed it.
was
I never
Muslim.
blamed it.
But you know, one thing I was recently thinking about when we were talking about doing this episode, especially as our first one, I was like, okay, so it's something we went through. You know, it's something that a lot of people may have gone through. You know, like we don't have to say black. We could just say, you know, being foreign. You know, we're from Sudan. But I don't see it too much as like a struggle because, you know, we understand where we're from. Mm-hmm. We're from a third world country. We're from the slums, bro. It's hard out there, especially in Sudan, you know, and we've experienced the hardship out there, but we haven't lived there. You know, we've been there for a couple months at a time, you know, a couple weeks at a time, but it's nothing compared to the people who have to live there, like our family that lives there and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm thankful for what we had in America, whether it was a struggle being black and being Muslim. Like it doesn't matter. You know, we were born at the height of, like, you know, 9/11 and the war on terror, but you know, many people didn't know we were Muslim, at least from my perspective. I don't know about you guys, but for me, like nobody in elementary school or in middle school, like they didn't know I was Muslim because I never publicized it. You know, I was a kid.
Yeah. It
wasn't like I was wearing Islam on my sleeve saying, oh yeah, I'm Muslim.
Exactly.
And it's not like,
you know,
it's not like the women wearing hijabs and stuff like,
Yeah.
It's not like it's blatantly out there. I never announced that I was Muslim, you know, maybe one time in elementary school and the teacher was like, brought something to the school and asked if anyone wasn't allergic to pork. Yeah.
Bro, look, listen, man, you get all sorts of weird comments, you know. Dang, you know, you're Muslim.
You're Muslim.
You speak Islam. Are you from Ramadan? You know, it's just.
I'm not gonna lie, like I only got that type of stuff in high school. Like in elementary, I would always say, oh yeah, I'm African. I never said I was from Sudan. I'd say I'm African just because it messes with people's head. They look at me, you know, they see the curly hair, they see the light skin, they're like, what? You're not from Africa.
That's like a common misconception.
Yeah, they'll
get.
be like, oh, you're Dominican or you're Puerto Rican or you're some form of Hispanic or you're Indian. I got Indian a lot. I don't know where they get
I got Indian
from, bro. I don't know where you see me.
You got Indian.
Yeah, I got Indian a lot. Like before I had, you know, dreads, you know, I was bald, right?
This is
listen, you know, I was bald, you know, they would talk about my forehead, they would talk about all this and that, you know, call me Indian. I was like, no, I'm African. They're like, no. You're Indian. You're not black.
Why was that always a topic of discussion? Like when I was a kid, a lot of people, they always used to talk about my race. Like as if it was like some sort of mystery, like they had to solve it. I was like, I don't understand why. Like, was your parents teaching you this?
Yeah,
like
for
you
real,
have to identify
Get
every
off
single
me,
person.
bro.
Like get off me. I'm human. Khalas, like leave it at that.
You know, one thing about like growing up in America and being Muslim, like people never knew that I was Muslim, but they'd always like okay, so you guys remember when your mom would come to your school on like your birthday or something,
Yeah.
or you'd come after like a doctor's appointment, you'd have McDonald's or something, and she'd come to your classroom with you real quick and like drop it off or whatever. They'd see that she's wearing hijab, and then they'd always ask, hey, why does your mom have a scarf on her head?
Yeah.
Like, why is she not wearing it around her neck? I'll be like, I wouldn't know what to tell them because like I didn't have an explanation at the time. I wasn't gonna like just be like, oh yeah, it's because we're Muslim. I didn't know that. I thought like, you know, she just wore it to wear it because at the time, like I was uninformed about that type of stuff. You know, I was going to Sunday school, you know, obviously, but like it wasn't something where I was just like, oh yeah, it's because we're Muslim. And I think maybe because my parents were trying to protect me because at the time, you know, it was the height of 9/11, war on terror. You know, everybody who was Muslim could have been called a terrorist at any time. You know, it was a horrific time.
Sad time for real. And we did get the bad end of it, but it wasn't that bad though.
I don't.
Yeah,
I just.
if I'm being
like,
real.
I don't. I just don't. I can't
For
really
us,
remember
I don't know
any
how it is for other
significant
people.
event.
I don't know how, but alhamdulillah, it wasn't that bad on us. Alhamdulillah, we didn't get discriminated.
I
on.
understand it though. Like a lot of people who struggled with that, but I just can't remember any like significant events that happened because of that. Not especially not as a kid, but in high school and stuff like that. Yeah, it started to show. Like I've seen like I've gotten weird looks from people in public before. I've gotten people who like
When you're wearing a
who like they don't even try to hide it, right? I'll be walking in a store and I'll see like a white lady, she'll see me and she'll just like walk away, like she'll in like a hurry. And you know, I don't like to think anything of it, but sometimes I'll be thinking, okay, is it because of my color, bro? Like, is there something like, did I do something to you? Like, there's no way, unless I stink, bro. Like,
Nah, see, look, this is the thing,
Nah, I
bro.
think
I
you
always
stink.
be smelling good, you know what I'm saying? So like,
No, I think you stink too.
if they walking away, bro, shut up. If they walking away, you know, it has to be for some reason.
The
you know?
height of my anger reaches by bomber jokes, especially by Muslims. What do you like? What? They're not funny.
I've gotten way like, bro, I've seen way too many of those jokes by non-Muslims and by Muslims. It's like when I was younger, you know, 15, 14 maybe, you know, I could find those jokes a little bit funny. I could be like, oh yeah, that was clever, that's cool, blah blah blah. But now you're playing into the stereotype. Now you're trying to make it seem like we're all someone who's into this because like, oh yeah, we've accepted what happened, or you know, we're gonna make a joke out of what happened. But you know, it's not really, especially now, it's not that funny, bro. It's just
Not
annoying.
funny
It's
at
really
all.
annoying, especially because you know now, like now that I've had way more knowledge about Islam, you know, it's haram. Like you can't make jokes about Islam. And like there's a verse in the Quran that says, and they will say we were only conversing and playing. You know, you're just making a joke, but to Allah, something like that is not a
They're
joke.
all-
Were you making a
among the
joke about the
hypocrites.
deen?
Yeah.
Like, were you making a joke about the deen? Like, what's funny about it? Like, I don't understand. Like that was the height of my anger growing up. Was just just jokes, little mediocre jokes.
Bro, not even just that. Like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are making a joke about me?
In my way of life, my deen.
And a joke like that, you know, it doesn't come from like, oh, I'm trying to make people laugh. It's like, oh, you know what? People see my religion as a joke, so I'm gonna make fun of it, and I'm gonna get laughs, and I'm gonna get validation from that.
Yeah, exactly.
They
It's like
don't,
you're a
and it's
sellout.
not. They're most of the time they're not getting validation from Muslims. They're getting it from people outside of the scope of Islam. And that irritates me the most. You know, 9/11 just passed, bro. I was seeing so many jokes on TikTok about that. And it was mad annoying.
Yeah, TikTok and Instagram, and people all laughing about it. Like,
When I learned, like, even laughing at a joke like that, it's haram because you're you're giving them what they want.
bro, not even just laughing at, you know, the Muslims. You know, they even laughing at the people that died. Their own people that are dying. You know, that died on that day. They're like, yeah, making stories about, you know, the 9/11 victims and how they died and etc. And these are their own people.
But it's also the fact that the actions that were displayed were not by Muslims. You can't
Exactly.
call those people Muslims. They can claim whatever they want, bro. I can claim that I'm white, but I'm obviously not white.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, I can claim anything I want. It doesn't mean that I like
It's
just
like-
because I
it's
claim
like-
to represent something doesn't mean I do represent.
Yeah, it's like claiming to be a vegetarian.
Bro,
and
like, look,
eating
listen, I'm not
steak,
gonna
sirloin.
apologize on behalf of Islam for 9/11 because
Yeah.
you know that has nothing to do with
With
Islam.
Islam.
Islam is free of all of this. You know, you don't see
Like, Islam is perfect. Don't attribute the people who are non-perfect to Islam. We're not perfect, but Islam is perfect. You can't attribute those people to Islam.
You know, it's one thing like I've had those types of jokes with like friends. It's different when I have that type of joke with a friend, you know, and I see it like they don't. We have like our own type of banter. You know, you have your group of friends, you have your own type of banter. But then when I see a group publicizing it to everybody else and they're trying to like make this thing into like they're playing into the stereotype. You know, there was a stereotype for a time. There could still be a stereotype. You know, I haven't seen it personally because, you know, I'm not out here wearing a thobe every single day. And so people are not like looking at me and be like, oh, yep, I know he's Muslim. Well, obviously I live in America. So if I wear something like that, obviously I'm going to get some looks. Like I know you've worn a thobe to like school or something, right?
But it really didn't. It would surprise you how much people didn't care versus how much you would think they would care. Like nobody cared. Mm-hmm.
Shoot, I wore it to the store once and I got some weird looks. People were like, "Are you wearing a dress?"
No,
I'm not wearing a dress.
Bro, thobes are
Remember that one time, you know, in Ramadan, it was
in Ramadan we went to break fast.
We went to that little restaurant. We were trying to get
the Greek restaurant.
Yeah, the Greek restaurant, trying to get shawarma. Everyone was looking at us.
Bro, no, that was like I was really uncomfortable, bro. First off, we were the only black people in the store.
What about Mohi?
What are you talking about? He's Caucasian, bro. So we were the only black people in the store. And we walk in, we see pure white faces, and they
don't even label them as that.
All faces turn and they look at us, and we're like we're walking to the front. So like all these tables, all these tables, they're all looking at us while we're walking down. It's like walking down in a fashion show, but like they're scolding you while you're walking. So we're doing that. And then we get to the front and we're like, yo, we just want to get some shawarma. Like we just wanted to get it and go. And I forgot, but the staff was mad rude to us. They were, I don't remember exactly what they said. I just remember they were rude and they were giving us weird looks. Like we had interrupted something, even though we just wanted to come in and get some food. Mm-hmm. And when we left, I could still feel the looks on the back of my neck, bro. It was like the sun was scorching down heat from their eyeballs, bro.
Bro, matter of fact, brother, speaking about those, you know, even earlier today, as I was leaving the mosque, you know, someone told me, you know, nice gown. Bro, who are you? Like, get out of my face, bro. Yeah,
hey, bro, he complimented you.
No, but yeah, I told him thank you. But in my head, I'm just like, bro, is this guy trying to make a joke?
Like,
What's funny?
You know, one thing I actually remember, like when I first, my last 2 years in middle school, we didn't live in America. We lived in Saudi, you know, we studied there. We studied like, it was actually good studying over there. Then we come back to America and I hated it. Like I hated it at first because like, I just didn't want to be here. It was like I was entering into a High School Musical movie, bro. Everybody, like everywhere I look, bro, people making out, parties, blah, 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 all this. It was like living in a freaking TV show, like a PG-13 TV show. Everything you could imagine about high school and those TV shows, like the bullying, all of that was present in this.
Especially when you're moving from Saudi Arabia, a place like Saudi Arabia, where the people actually have morale, and in the schools they teach you differently than what they do over here, and then you come over here and then you see all that. It's different.
Like public school, bro, there was no rules, bro. People could skip. Like you see making out in between periods, all this type of stuff. And to think when like
people having car meets in the
people
bathroom.
started treating me differently. Like people started treating me differently when they found out I was Muslim, because they'd be like. Like one day they were serving food in the cafeteria and someone offered me some pork and I said, nah, I can't eat that. They were like, what? You Muslim? And I was like, yeah. And then they started laughing at me and like they just kind of like brushed me off. And I felt so uncomfortable. Like I was new to this school too. I barely had no friends. I'm sitting at this table and they do that to me. Bro, I felt so bad. I didn't talk to nobody like the rest of the school year because I was just so uncomfortable. That's probably the one significant thing I can think about when I first started high school and I was back in America. Like, keep in mind, bro, I was still technically a kid. You know, I was very mature for my age, but up to that point in life, I had never seen some of this stuff. I'd never seen someone kiss in school. I'd never seen like, you know, these parties, the smoking, the drinking. I never seen none of that. You know, I was in Saudi Arabia for 2 years, bro. I was surrounded by that type of environment. Bro, it was like being thrown into a fire, bro. And I was just so uncomfortable. You know, I was a shy kid. You know, I didn't like to talk to nobody. So yeah, that's probably the one thing I can remember that where I was like, okay, this is weird. This is weird. This is real. Like I hated it, and I didn't tell nobody about it. And at the time, you know, I wasn't someone who was. I would most definitely say I was not as religious as I am right now. So I didn't know where to turn. I didn't want to turn to my parents. I didn't turn to my siblings. I didn't have friends at the time. I have no one to turn to. So really what I did, I drowned my sorrows in Call of Duty. All I did was play the game for like 6 hours a day. That's it. That's how I drowned my sorrows, bro. I didn't have nothing else to do.
This dude would be trying so hard.
Yeah, I wasn't going to the gym for real, or I wasn't doing none of that. I wasn't even really playing football like that. I just drowned my sorrows in Call of Duty, bro, and it was bad for me. So that's actually a good example of me telling you that, like, if you don't have Allah on your side when you get tried by something, then it's gonna affect you negatively, because that affected me negatively. Yeah, I had fun playing on the game, but that's over with now, and I'm always still nostalgic about it. But why? Because I wasn't creating no new memories. Like, I wasn't doing nothing for myself. I didn't do anything that truly benefited me. I was unhealthy. I was a quiet kid. I was shy. Like, I wasn't doing much. Maybe being quiet and shy, good. Being quiet and shy is good in Islam, right? But I don't think that being that type of quiet and shy, I didn't speak up for anything. I wasn't speaking my mind. I wasn't, being confident in myself. I was kind of.
Did you ever pray in school?
Scared, huh?
Did you ever pray in school?
I never prayed in school, and I actually really regret that.
Yeah, bro. Praying in school, it's one of the most fulfilling things. You tell your teacher, gotta go pray Dhuhr. They can't say anything to you. Knowing that nothing will ever be in between you and the call of prayer between you and Allah, it's the most fulfilling experience ever.
So how do you deal with the people who could like think a certain way about you when you say, "Oh, I have to pray"?
That's the thing. No one has ever. When I was in school, and I used to say I needed to go pray, no one would ever, like, my teacher would take care of me. And alhamdulillah, I feel like it was easy for me. No one would look at me wrong. No one would look at me weird. Like, they would just look at me like, oh, he just got to go pray to God. That's it. Like, everyone, like, they even thought it was normal. And it was easy. Even when I'm at work and I tell my coworkers I got to go pray, I got to go be right back, 5 minutes. They make way for me. They cover the things I got to do, and they let me go do it. It's like, it's not even, I've never gotten a dirty look from it.
Have you guys ever like sat here? Because I used to see psychological studies when I took psychology in high school, and it'd be like babies are shown a baby doll, right? And they'll be like, which one's the good one, which one's the bad one? It'd be a white baby and a black baby doll, right? Mm-hmm. So then they'd ask the babies, which one's the good one, and it'd point to the white baby, and they'd be so like the psychologists, they were like, why do they think this? Why do they think there's one bad and there's one good? Why can't both be good? So what I was about to ask is, have you guys ever like asked yourself, okay, why was I born like this? Especially in a time where racism is still prevalent.
Literally,
we're at the height of like the Black Lives Matter movement. We've seen like what police brutality has been like from the 90s to now, and even before.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. Not really. Like me, like I was perfectly fine, like in my own skin. Like I was like, I can't do anything about it. But, I ain't gonna lie, though. As a kid, though, I try to fit in so many different ways. Like, I try to copy, I try to have a mohawk. I try to, I just try all these different types of things. Like, I just try to be everything but myself.
I remember when we were kids, right? So basically, we grew up together, right? And as a kid, this guy was like my wingman. This guy, he was like my sidekick. So I was like Batman, he was like Robin. We would, so one time I remember someone asked us like what chips we like better. It was like Doritos or Cheetos, right? And he said Doritos at first. And I said, nah, Cheetos better. He's like, yeah, Cheetos better. And from then on, I was like, oh shoot, this guy, he's my dog, bro. This guy, he likes whatever I like. But that's kind of like what you mean about fitting in. I tried to fit into, I remember as a middle schooler, when I first got to middle school, especially like 6th grade, bro, I was trying to fit in as much as I could. I got a mohawk too. Bro, I was trying to dress like everybody else. I was trying to wear all the cool shoes, the cool colors, all that type of stuff. And not once did it occur to me why I was on this earth. I never questioned myself. I never been like, oh yeah, what's truly like the purpose here? What's truly our, what we're supposed to be getting after while we're here? I never truly thought about, oh yeah, what's next? Even though I knew, we went to Sunday school. All of us went to Sunday school. They taught us, oh yeah, there's hellfire, there's hereafter, there's paradise, there's Jannah, right? There's you have to pray, all this type of stuff. They taught you they taught you about it, but they didn't tell you why. Like, I don't remember knowing why. Like, why? What is the reason for this? I never, I can't remember one time as a kid where they told me, how much Allah loves me.
Bro,
but they told me how bad the torment was.
Speaking about, Sunday school, I hated going to Sunday school. Like, I would try to do anything but to go to Sunday school. Like, I would try to act like I was sleeping in, always try to act like I was sick. I would just try to sit home and play the game. I would, just everything that wasn't beneficial in the long run for me. I would just try to do that. I was just caught up, doing what I wanted to do, you know, in my own desires. Obviously,
Bro,
as
we
a
were
kid.
kids though, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm a kid.
But no, I understand that. But look, I knew the purpose of Sunday school. It was just like going to school, right? For me, it was just like going to any other school. But I used it as a place to make friends, bro. I used to lollygag in the class until like lunchtime came. Then we had time to play football or whatever, and then we'd go back for like another hour, and then we'd be done. That's how I thought of it. Even though I learned some stuff, you know, and I retained some of the stuff. I never really took it in. You know, I remember the stuff because, you know, I learned it as a kid. So it was like, it just stuck with me. Like, you know, I learned Surah Al-Fatiha, you know, the opening chapter of the Quran. I learned it and it stuck with me forever. But which is really good. And I learned some stories that, like, you know, I remember parts of as I grew older, but eventually I forgot that stuff because I didn't really take it in. Like, I didn't take it to the heart because I was forced to learn it. And I don't like, I still think it was one of the best decisions my parents could have made for me because, like, even though they made me go and I probably didn't want to go, the fact that I was still able to retain that stuff, even though I wasn't trying to, that's like, that really shows me like the power of Allah, you know, that Allah was instilled inside my heart, even from a young age. And even though I may have turned away from him growing up and like, I didn't turn to him as much as I should, eventually I turned back to him. Like, I came back to Allah. Mm-hmm. This is probably why I don't see like, as many difficulties and being black or being foreign and Muslim and growing up in the West. You know, I see the fact that there's so many difficulties today. You know, people drinking, people smoking. Now people are trying to teach our kids about being gay and like being trans or whatever, and all this that is okay, and like you're instilling it in our kids' minds and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I didn't necessarily grow up with that because for me, bro, I never saw a gay person until I was 15, dog.
Oh,
I never
we were
knew.
in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I know. Even before
Dude,
that,
even
though,
me, bro, I was still here. I didn't
bro,
see any of that.
That movement, that movement started like 30 years before I was born, though. And I had never seen one. I'd never heard of it. The only time I ever heard the word gay was the fact that it meant happy.
Yeah, the people of
Bro,
Lot.
and people used to make so many jokes about it. Like, yeah, I'm gay. And then people be like, what? What are
Yeah,
you
it
talking
means
about? You're
happy,
gay. And then you're
bro.
like, no, I'm happy.
Yeah. I never knew what it meant other than that, bro.
The people of Lot, bro. They've been working hard. They've been pushing their agenda, but like, it's a bad agenda. Like, you can't push that against children. I mean, you're free to push whatever agenda you want, but don't not push that onto children.
I mean, today life is like, it's getting more
Children
difficult.
shouldn't be learning about sexual. They're children. Let them be children.
You know, for anybody who's like watching or listening, whatever you've gone through, like we can't let that define us. You know, because Allah has put it for us that whatever you go through is better for you. Mm-hmm. Like, no matter what happens, this is the fact of the DEENTOUR, right? There are so many paths you could take, right? So many roads you can go down. Allah knows the outcome of every single one, but He knows which one is best. You can go down whichever one you want. You know, you can go down the path where you say you want to drink and you want to smoke, and then you end up getting addicted to that. You turn away from Allah, and now you're in a state of depression and all this. Or you can go down a path where you don't smoke or drink. You focus on whatever you want to do, your studies or whatever ventures you want to go on, adventures you want to pursue. And it ends up being better for you, and you're praying and you're doing this and that. And if you're not Muslim, then maybe you can take that lesson that you understand that you're not alone. Like, whatever you go through, you know, but everybody goes through something. Everybody got a sob story. Exactly. You know, just because we may not publicize what happened to us, you know, I don't see a lot of the stuff that I've gone through as a sob story, you know. Bro, like half these people who would be watching right now wouldn't be able to fathom what we've gone through, especially in Sudan, bro. Like, Sudan is like one of the hardest places to live especially if you've been there in the past couple of years. You know, they've been they've had so many wars with their own government, the government killing their own citizens type of stuff, right?
And we have so many stories so
many stories about that. But look, we don't wear that on our sleeve. Like, we're not wearing that on our sleeve. For one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells you not to go with your problems to other people. You know, personally for me, I don't know about y'all, I would never go to like a therapist or something, right? Because that's me taking my problems, taking the stuff Allah has put me through, that like tested me with, and going and relying on someone else to get better. You know, only Allah can make you better. Mm-hmm. No matter what you go through. I mean, talking about it is cool, right? You know, voicing it is cool, right?
Hold on. Excuse me. why would you have to go to someone else? Why would you have to rely on someone else to make your own self feel better? So now your feeling better is dependent on that person.
What happens when that person isn't there anymore?
And what happens when that
person leaves your life. That person stabs you in the back.
You know,
which they will do.
Exactly. Allah doesn't go anywhere. Allah doesn't feel no.
And that therapist, they don't really care how you feel. They're just waiting for the check. It doesn't really matter. Like if it was me and I was giving advice to somebody, I would tell them, don't go to a therapist. You have to better your own self. This is your battle. Don't go to someone else. Don't try to recruit a flex to fight your battle.
Look, matter of fact, bro, look, me in high school, bro, I was always that one kid giving the advice, but I wasn't asking anyone else for advice.
Bro,
but,
this guy was a ghost in high school.
Like, you know, I was always giving people advice.
He was a ghost.
No, he wasn't?
Yes. Bro, he had like no friends. Like he just dropped everybody.
Listen, like me in high school, like, you know, I was well known by a lot of people, but like I didn't have like, you know, friends like that. Cause, you know, bro, like what I'm gonna take these people as my friends.
I mean,
like,
we always had
they weren't
like our
after the
friends.
same
They were
thing.
we were always friends with each other, like our Sudanese brothers here.
We're family, bro. Like we're basically
we are family.
We're brothers, bro.
This is our
but
cousin
like,
for those.
In terms of high school, I see what you're saying. Like all my friends came from football. You know, I played football. That was the only way I made friends. That was the only way I've retained friends. That was the only way I was trying to make friends because I didn't see the point because I understood. Like I truly understood the point that a lot of people make that once you leave high school, a lot of you just go your separate ways. Like everybody has their own thing that they want to do. Mm-hmm. And like that's been the case for me. Like, you know, I still have some friends. I still talk to people. I still got like some of my boys. But that, like, you know, once I turned to Allah, I forgot about all that stuff. I forgot about like the fact that, I need friends or I need people around me. Like, you know, there's a different type of feeling, you know, when you turn to Allah and you're sitting on a musalla, right? You're sitting on a prayer mat and you're talking to Allah. And then when you feel the presence of Allah and you're just like, okay, this is all I need. I don't need anybody else. You know, I'm alone. I'd be alone in my room and I don't have nobody next to me. I don't have nobody I'm talking to. I only have Allah and I'm speaking out to Allah. You know, I'm making prayers and I'm, you know, when you have that type of connection, you don't need nothing else. Like it's like you disconnect yourself from the world. Like you're here on this world physically, but your spirit and your mind is somewhere else. Your spirit and your mind, they desire something else. You know, I desire what's in the hereafter. You know, I've studied it and I always imagine about it. And ultimately I can't see it, but what we've been told in the Quran, what we've been told in the Hadith, bro, it's unfathomable, but it's something that, you know, you strive towards. Like when you strive towards something bigger than yourself, something bigger than what this life has to offer, then you become like a brand new person. This is why I don't see the problems that I've gone through. Like I don't look at them like, oh yeah, this is how I've been shaped. I've been shaped by Allah. That's it.
Like, yeah, bro. Like if you go through life only focusing on your problems, your life's gonna be a problem.
Exactly.
That's all you focus on. Like, I really believe you should go through life happy, always being grateful. Gratefulness is the key to happiness. I don't care what nobody tells me.
Yeah, see?
It can always be worse. It can always, don't tell me you're in the worst position because it can always be worse.
That's one thing I live by.
Gratefulness is the key to happiness. Like, it can be worse. Worst days are coming, but best days are also coming.
And I always also live by, you know, the fact that Allah does not burden a soul more than what it can bear. So meaning, if I'm going through something, I can make it out every 100%. Single time. The only way I don't is if I die. That's it. And what is that? Death is not always, you know, a bad thing to us. You know,
it's never supposed to be a bad thing because every soul tastes death.
Exactly.
Bro, why would death be a bad thing if it's inevitable for every single human being to ever walk the earth?
And when
name me one human being to walk the earth that hasn't died. Okay, you can't. But they're all in the grave.
You know why you also can't beat the Muslim? Even if you kill this person, what do they see? They see paradise.
Exactly. Like
it's always going to be something good.
This is what we've strived for. This is what we worked hard for. Imagine working for something your entire life, and you finally get to see. Someone finally puts a gun to your face, and you're smiling. They're like, "What's wrong with this dude?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this dude? He doesn't know that I prayed 5 times a day for 80 years. He doesn't know."
For real, like, you know, someone walks up to you trying to rob you. I mean, yeah, I prayed also today. Did you?
Did you?
If someone is too proud, right, to be sitting in their room or to go out and pray in public, for one, and then two, they're too proud to cry to Allah. Mm-hmm. Then how can you expect your relationship to get close? Like I've always seen videos and I've heard people lectures say sitting down, crying to Allah, and I'm like, dang, bro, crying. Like like a couple years ago, that was such a hard thought. I used to be like, bro, how am I supposed to cry? Until you truly want something, until you truly need that help, until you truly put your forehead on the ground.
You truly realize you have to be humble.
Yes.
Because a lot of people who are proud, they never been humbled before. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, think about Fir'aun. He was never humbled before until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humbled him. He gave him the harshest humble bro, he gave him the work.
Like leaking on him.
Yeah, bro.
Like
dropped the whole ocean on him and Angel Jabril kicked dirt in his mouth, bro.
Like think about that. Like a person. I don't understand how a person can be so proud. Like I know you've had trials in your life. Everybody has trials in their life, but you think so highly of yourself. Why do you think so highly of yourself when you know it can all be taken away from you like that?
A lot of people, they what they go through, they try to wear it on their sleeve, especially like, heartbreak.
Bro, heartbreak is the biggest one nowadays.
Yeah,
yo, look, listen, my girl cheated on me, so now I'm gonna be the fattest billionaire out there. I'm gonna be the biggest.
I'm gonna be a heartbreaker. I'm gonna be a cheater. I'm gonna do whatever.
Playboy, like, where's the correlation? Like, what?
Look, listen, bro. Who are you, bro?
Where's your grow a new personality, bro? That's like the stick on TikTok right now, especially for guys and girls. If there's something they're going through, they publicize it for one. Why would you publicize your problems? You make yourself vulnerable. That's one thing I've always known about myself that I don't do. I don't make myself vulnerable. I don't need you knowing my problems. I don't care if you want to help me. I know who wants to help. I know who will help. And that's Allah. Even before I knew that, even before I thought that, I didn't want my problems out there. Because why?
Yeah, exactly.
What can you offer for me? What can you help me with? If I wanted to talk to somebody, I'm going to a therapist. But I don't believe in therapy, so I'm not going to you. Like, what do you got for me? You're the same as me.
Because there's someone on earth in the same position that you can be in, and there's also someone on earth who's in a position where they don't have any friends, but they're still fighting their problems.
Look, listen, you're whatever hardship you're going through, just remember there is someone on the other side of the world from you that will kill to have what you have. Mm-hmm. And you just, and you make everything a problem. Like, whatever you're going through. And like you said, your life is just going to be full of problems if you want to look at your problems as, a problem every single time.
This is why what I was talking about. There's someone always going through something worse. And for my sake, one thing I say is that, being from Sudan, seeing how rough that country is, bro, the people are always so happy. There's crime. Yes. There's really bad people in Sudan. There's corrupt governments. There's people who blow stuff up, people who kill people, all this type of stuff. And I've seen it all. But bro, the citizens, they stay happy, bro. There's like a family environment there, bro. If you're from Sudan and I'm from Sudan and we don't know each other, we're strangers, bro. We're automatically friends. Bro, that's how it is.
Let me tell you, we're in the middle of the village. Me and Osman, we're walking around the village. It's a pretty big village, but you can still walk from coast to coast, like from west, like
you can walk from end to end, bro.
From end to end. And we're walking through people's houses, and just because Osman and I have a certain family name or a family name like that they know us by and they know other people by, they let us in their house, they give us tea, they give us food, they give us dinner for free. It's all for free. They give us water. Everyone knows each other. Everyone, have you prayed yet? Oh no, I haven't prayed yet. Oh, go to the mosque, let's pray. The big mosque. Everyone knows each other. It's beautiful. It's something that you haven't even seen before, and you would think that these people will be miserable. They don't have air conditioning, they don't have power, they don't have phones, they don't have anything. Look, if I were to only tell you that, hey Osman, think about this group of people. They don't have air conditioning, power, food, water. They don't have clean water. They don't have shower drains. They don't have clean bathrooms. They don't have TVs. What would you think about these people? You would think that these people are the most miserable people on earth. But what I just told you about how they always invite people into their homes, they give them free food, they give them tea.
They value something that is lost nowadays. Family values.
Family values. Strong friendships.
The family home in the West especially is destroyed.
It's destroyed.
Most of these people, remember, they're Muslim. They understand the value that, Allah, if He will withhold money from you, or He will give it to you if it is better for you. It's not, you can't just say, oh, I'm gonna be rich, right? But if Allah wrote that, you having money is not good for you because you were gonna misuse it, and He doesn't want that for you, then He won't give you the money, even if you want it, even if you work your whole life towards it.
And the way I look at it is, if Allah takes something away from you or doesn't give it to you, take it as a sign of His protection.
Yes.
And that's one thing people overlook a lot, because they'll be like, why me? Why don't I have this? This person has this. Why is it always these types of people? They get it. Like, look, me personally, right? Like, I'm not gonna say I grew up the richest, right? But I used to always look at people. I'd be like, dang, these people are like they have no moral ethics. But how are they yet living the best life, the most comfortable life? And then you just have to understand, you know, Allah wants to give these people the luxuries of this world because this world is their paradise. And even though you're in your mind, your heart, you're just like, these people, I feel like they don't deserve it. Like, you know, these people, like, they're just disgusting people to me. Like, you know, I don't know, like, how, you know, they're able to get all the luxuries of this life.
You so worried about other people. Look,
No, I'm saying, this is a thought of when I was
look,
younger.
I'm gonna use you as an example. Some people be so worried about what other people have, you don't realize what you have. You don't
Exactly.
realize you are one in billions. You are one in billions. You don't realize what you have. Because you have something. Most certainly, there's someone out there who has less than you. You have to be grateful for you. You have to be grateful for it, and that is what will drive your happiness. That's how you be happy every single day, and that's how you beat sadness.
Look, listen. Yeah, especially
That's how
after
you
I
beat
went
the
to Sudan,
DEENTOurs.
bro. Dude, I just turned into a whole different person.
Bro,
I
a
came
whole
back,
different
bro.
person. I remember that summer, Osman.
Once I became grateful, once like these things did this all changed my life. Like
Speaking of that, there was one time where he's basically my uncle, but he's my cousin at the same time, right? No, that's how family weird. But so I was in Sudan with him, and we was chilling. We was just talking, and he was like he just told me, he's like, man, you got it so good. I was like, what you mean? He's like, bro, you know Arabic, you know English, you live in America, you have good school, like you have so many opportunities ahead of you, like you have a whole life filled with opportunity. And I looked at him, I was like, I didn't know what to say, because, you know, in my head, I'm always thinking about, dang, bro, like I could be going through this or I could be going through that. I was never thinking like, dang, bro, like you didn't get that chance. You know, it's not on us to make that decision. You know, Allah wrote for you that this was best for you. You know, he wasn't being ungrateful or anything like that. He's very grateful, but he told me like, don't waste my opportunity, basically. And I was like, I took that to heart. I was like, dang, bro, I gotta really like I gotta start being more thankful, and I have to start being more grateful. I have to start like, you know, taking more advantage of my opportunities. You know,
and that drives like the discipline, the motivation.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to
It's like thinking if you say like you want lemonade, right? And Allah will drop the lemon from the tree. Now, what will you do with that lemon? Are you gonna make the lemonade, or are you gonna be like, where's my lemonade at?
People ask God for a cake. God gives them, you know, the eggs, the milk, all the materials, but you know, are they really gonna do anything with it? And then they complain, why don't I have a cake?
And maybe think about like, I really need to start taking advantage of this type of stuff. You know, take advantage of like, you know, what Allah has given to me, what Allah has blessed me with. And not saying, oh, I want this or I want that. Like, you know, why don't I take advantage of what I already have instead of looking to the next thing?
Speaking about what you said earlier, you know, you comparing yourself to other people's, you know, what ruins your happiness too. Like, you know, one thing I learned, like, you know, just going into business or whatever it may be, school, business, you know, whatever you may like, don't compare your page 1 to someone's pages, you know, 1,000, because, you know, that will always, you know, ruin your happiness, because you're just like, you don't know what that person did to get there.
You try to live your life. You try to live your life through their eyes.
You got to focus on yourself.
Yeah.
And think about the world we live in today. Social media, like pillar built world. Everyone's on social media. Everyone looks at social media. Everyone's looking at the best chapters of people's lives. And you're looking at everyone's life. You're like, wow, this person's life's amazing. But you're only seeing like the best chapters. You only because that's all they post about. Like, that's all they show.
One thing I saw, like the grass is always greener, you know, on these pictures.
Yeah, the grass is always greener on the pictures. And it's like it destroys for some people, it destroys their mentality. They're like, wow, this person's life is amazing, but my life is bad, it's terrible. I have all this stuff happening to me. Everybody has stuff happening to them, you know, and you're so focused on them, you don't realize what you have. You're ungrateful, and that's why you become sad and depressed. That's why you need to go talk to a person about your problems and let them write it down and pay them money.
One thing, I think a lot of people, they want to live life in hardship. They want to live life on the hard side. Even though they want the good stuff, they want that hard stuff. They want a story to tell. You know, they want to be like, oh, I went through this, or I went through that, or I'm going through this. You know, difficulty.
It's a source of pride.
A lot of people, they can, if they get through, they can say they got through this, or they can look for, you know, attention, looking for help or something. Because, you know, people, they don't want to be alone. We have an innate feeling to not be alone. That's why we mate. That's why we have spouses. This is why, you know, we weren't built to be alone, and we weren't built to want to be alone. A lot of people think that this independency thing today is like, you know, it's a flex or something, or it's a trend or whatever, but it's not. You know, we gotta understand that, for one, you're never alone. You know, and I learned that the hard way. I learned that, you know, Allah is always with me. But now when I look to Allah, I'm never happier. I will never question my happiness ever again, no matter what I go through, because I can't complain. there's always something worse, and there's like I'm working towards something even better. You know, like this going through whatever I go through here is worth it for what I'm chasing. You know, I'm chasing the paradise. You know, and if you're not Muslim, I don't know how you'll truly understand that if you haven't seen this side of Islam, if you haven't gone through it yourself. You have to go through it yourself. And a lot of Muslims today still may have not gone through that transition of like truly feeling like, you know, the help of Allah, you know, the guidance of Allah, you know, having your head on the ground and, you know, crying because, you know, you need Allah's help or you need his guidance or you're thankful to him, whatever it is.
Bro, look, listen, you know, it's all about perspective. You know,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say earlier.
It's about perspective. Like, think about it like this, right? You have two people going down the same path, right?
Yeah.
You know, let's say they're going down a mountain.
Okay.
One person is looking at all the trees and all the roadblocks, whatever it may be. And then you have the other person who's just looking at the clear path. Which person is going to come out, you know, victorious at the end? The one who's just focused on the clear path, or the one who's focused on everything around the clear path, everything but the clear path? You know, they're so worried about this, they're so worried about that. Like they're gonna be the ones that end up.
They're worried about problems before they even start.
Exactly.
Like you're thinking way too ahead of yourself.
Like you ever see like the people who overthink the most? Like,
yeah,
like the thing they overthink about the most or they fear the most is actually what ends up happening to them.
You know what's crazy? I used to overthink before I got closer to Allah. That used to be one of my biggest problems. I used to overthink everything. I used to think about so many scenarios that didn't matter.
You need to think more.
I mean, like, but ever since then, now I just say, I trust in Allah. You know, I will take action, but my trust in Allah is number one. Like that's one thing I have to like put for myself. That is one of the hardest things, though. You know, saying you have tawakkul in Allah, saying you have trust in Allah, saying like something like, oh, I'm gonna go drive to the gym, right? And saying I have the trust in Allah that I will make it there safely and I won't get in a car crash or something. Or saying that the fact that, you know, I have trust in Allah that I might do well on a test in school. Even if I don't do well, I trusted in Allah, you know, and even if I failed, then Allah said that I should fail, and that's better for me than me passing that test or whatever. That's something a lot of people need to understand, and they have to truly take on for themselves if they want to understand what we're saying here today. That's one thing. You know, we're all like you. We've all gone through a whole bunch of stuff, but we don't wear this stuff on our sleeve. We don't make it who we are. You know, what we are Muslims. We are Muslim men. We are Muslim men growing in a society that is really difficult to be a Muslim in, especially. It is really difficult to say that you are Muslim and show that you are practicing without people calling you an extremist or saying you're too strict or calling you a Wahhabi or whatever.
Look, listen, you tell people you pray 5 times a day, they're looking at you like you got 3 eyes. They're like, huh? Hey, you pray 5 times a day. You know, how can one do such a thing? And you're just like, or you don't even know, like.
They don't understand.
What about all the other people, you know, praying all the sunnah prayers, praying, you know, the 5 daily prayers and doing even more? You know, these are the real people who are true submitters to Allah. They
don't understand like that level of faith, you know, that level of iman. But, you know, that's a topic for another time.
I once heard a saying, the more a man lets his desire control him, the more he is like an animal. And the more he controls himself and he submits, the more he is like an angel.
And look,
wait, hold on. He just spoke some real facts. Wait a minute.
I always speak facts every time I open my mouth.
And going back to that, you know, a reminder, I'm always going to be telling you guys, the more disciplined you are, the more free that you are. You know, people have it backwards nowadays. They think, you know, doing whatever they want is going to make them more free, or following their own desires is going to make them, you know, the most free, but it's not. And if you think deeply and look truly at yourself and look at the people around you, you will see that's true.
Yeah. It's like, why would you do something that is truly not beneficial to you? And like you can give an excuse. You can give whatever excuse you want, but you control yourself at the end of the day. I don't like. There's no
control nobody else.
Yeah, you can't control anybody else. You can't control this. You can't control that. You can't control the weather. But you can control yourself. You can give any excuse that you want. If say you're addicted to cigarettes, but you know cigarettes can give you lung cancer. They're gonna hurt you in the long run.
It's my freedom, my choice.
It's my freedom. It's my choice. No. They control you. The drug is controlling you.
Exactly. You know, you come back for more. You know,
you come back for more, and then and then one day you're like, man, I gotta stop.
What's the term? Freedom is not free. Even this is your guys' own terms, and you know, this is not really what you're living by.
That's true. That's true.
You know, I don't want this episode to be too long, so we're gonna close it out here. I just want to say, for one, that anything we talk about, we may, even if we come off as aggressive, my brother here is gonna let y'all know that we will invite you to Islam, but the aggression comes from passion. We are very passionate about Islam. Like this is literally our life. This is what drives our decision making. This is what drives our day to day. This is what drives everything that we do, because we're working towards something bigger. And we're here to just share advices and the perspective that Islam has taught us, and we are still students of knowledge on topics that we talk about. But with that being said, it's been Hussein. I appreciate anybody who listened, who made it to the end, who watched, whatever. I hope y'all can like, subscribe, whatever y'all want to do. Hope y'all stick around, tune in for our next episode.
Let us know. Give us the criticism.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you guys. We want to talk to you guys on top of that. So, feel free to message us on Instagram or, whatever it may be. We'll even reply to your comments on top of that. The
links will be in the description and at the end of the video.
But with that being said, assalamu alaikum.
Oh, I have one more thing to say. Wallahi, I feel blessed. I'm grateful that I'm in this position. Wallahi, I will make change. During this podcast, however long we stay running for, we will make change. This is coming from gratefulness. This is coming from motivation, discipline. We will make change. And that's all I got to say. Yalla, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right, peace.